All right, so thank you, Joel Libava, for joining me here. We're about to talk to our audience about franchising. Joel is the franchise king, and all you have to do is Google that, and you will find him everywhere. He is a franchise advisor and consultant, and now he's author of the new book called Become a Franchise Owner. Welcome. Nice. There you go.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So, give us a little kind of 30-second overview of what your book's all about.
The book is really a how-to choose, how to research, how to make sure that you're even right for franchise ownership, and how to go about it without kind of drinking the industry Kool-Aid that is out there. I'm very, very pro-franchise, but only in certain instances where it's the right person for the right opportunity. So right. I just show people how to do it carefully and safely.
Excellent. And you do provide an excerpt on your website, a free chapter for folks to yes. check out. And it's very tactical. It's very, take a second and think about this. Now think about this. It kind of just walks you through it. It's not kind of high level. It just really makes someone kind of understand.
Thank you, and thanks for taking the time to grab it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. So franchising necessarily isn't always a good option for someone who has never been a small business owner, or it could be. What are your thoughts on that?
It could be. It's really for people that are okay with following rules and are very, very comfortable in a situation where there's going to be possibly a 300-page operations manual that they're going to have to follow and learn. And they're going to have to take some formal training classes from the franchisor, and they're going to have to not get real creative. If it's a Domino's Pizza franchise, guess what? Here are the colors of the sign. Here's probably where you should get the sign.
Right.
And this is going to be the square footage of the restaurant. And here's how many mushrooms are going to go on a mushroom pizza. And that's how you're going to have to do it. If you want to go reinvent the wheel, don't even spend 5 minutes online at any of the franchise websites that are out there.
Right.
It would really, really be a huge waste of time. So if you're a rule follower, maybe it should be looked at.
And so all franchises are like this. There isn't kind of one franchise that you know of that allows a little bit more creativity or anything like that?
Nothing off the top of my head, but remember the franchise business model, the reason it's probably the greatest model ever invented is because there's a system in place. So if you and I go to McDonald's in Elkhart, Indiana, and then a week later we travel somewhere and we're in California, the McDonald's should look, smell, taste, be just about the same.
Right.
That's what people like about franchises, and that's what consumers like. There's a safety mechanism in place. They know what they're going to be in for. If the franchisees all of a sudden said, well, I think we're going to make the McDonald's arch instead of gold, let's do kind of a red tint. I mean, it's not going to work. So
right. Brand
the rule following
consistency
and the operations is really, really important.
Right, absolutely. That makes sense. And the kind of expected experience that a consumer would have.
Exactly.
Right. So, RapidBuyr is all about saving small businesses money. But what are some kind of products or services or investments that you feel franchisees shouldn't skimp on?
Definitely marketing. I've told a lot of people that I've helped get in business, it's not the time to be cheap, especially for that grand opening. Spend the money. Don't be shy. The franchisor has a marketing plan and has software and has tools and maybe a direct mail program, etc. But you still need to do stuff on your own. Don't be cheap. Spend money on marketing. Get out there. If you have to join a couple networking groups for a few $100s, do it. Shake hands, get out there, get known. However you can get interviewed, get interviewed.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And so how much should someone expect to invest initially when starting a franchise?
It depends if there's a location or not. There are franchises that are more consulting, coaching, where you can have a home-based office and you can invest $75,000, $80,000, including working capital, and there's really no inventory for the most part, unless there's some workbooks, etc. But remember, if you're in a consulting business-to-business kind of market, customers, clients are not coming to your house. You have to go find them.
Right.
If you're thinking about getting a food franchise or a retail franchise, you're going to be usually in the $150,000 plus range or more. Panera Bread, for instance, there's a few of them around here. There's probably some by your area.
Yep.
over $1 million total investment.
Wow.
The fixtures are really expensive. Think about the chairs and the tables and the kitchen equipment. The lease is probably $10,000 a month, maybe more. Yeah. So the expenses are a lot larger. Right. When it comes to investing in a franchise, a lot of people ask, well, how much of my own money am I going to have to put in? A couple things. The banks are still being pretty difficult with small business loans. It's getting a little better. There's a little light at the end of the tunnel. Not enough, though. It's not even close. Right. I'm telling people to have 30% of their own money into whatever franchise they're looking at. Because I think anything less than that, it's going to be too easy for the banks to say no. So that's important. The money part is really important. And you don't want to look at franchises that are going to be out of your league financially. So do a net worth statement early, and that's part of the book. If you don't know where you're at, how are you going to know where you're going?
Right. And there's a lot of risk involved. I mean, although things are really spelled out for you when kind of taking over a franchise, there's can you talk a little bit about the risk that a lot of people might underestimate?
Now, don't tell anyone in the industry that I said that I said this, but it's risky. It is risky to buy a franchise because you're using your own money. Yeah. And a lot of it, you can do really great research, but a lot of it is like on faith. Right. Okay, there's a brand. I've talked to the franchisees in the system. They're saying mostly positive things. The franchise salesperson doesn't seem real shifty. It kind of feels right. I'm going to go for it. But what if all of a sudden your local area gets hit by a tornado? Your business is destroyed. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really a long shot, but stuff like that happens. What if your health goes bad? What if your financial situation all of a sudden changes because of something from the past? There's no guarantees at all. But as you and I both know, there's no guarantees in the job market either. It doesn't even matter how good you are anymore. You can get fired because the stockholders are saying, cut the expenses. So payroll, is the first thing that goes. Right. There's risk, but there's ways to lower it.
Absolutely. Those are great things to think about. And so, kind of based on your observations, what's the worst sin a franchise seeker might make when doing their research?
The worst sin that I've ever seen, and at the seminars that I've presented at, people have come to me afterwards and said, Joel, I never knew that I should probably talk to the franchisees that are already in the franchise. I mean, there's people out there that have invested in a franchise of their own and never picked up the phone to call a franchisee in the system. That is the biggest mistake, and people still do it.
Right. It kind of sounds like common sense to me, but, it's true. Some people just might, their eyes are bigger than their stomach, and they get really excited about jumping in, so.
The emotion takes over, and all of a sudden, they're a franchisee, and it's like, oh, really? Right. I didn't know I wasn't going to make any money for a little while.
Right.
Or I didn't know that I'd have to buy food just from that distributor. So, there's a lot of things to learn about. It's not hard to do, but for those of you who've never done it before, try to use someone. Buy the book. I have consulting services I provide. I mean, there's a lot of ways. And, there's a lot of great information on the internet. You can get a lot of it free.
That's great, yeah. And so, what kind of reader did you have in mind when you wrote Become a Franchise Owner?
I think that my target, probably 60% of my audience, are going to be people who have said to themselves, I've always wanted to get into a business, or that have been out of work for 9 months or 12 months, who are looking at other options.
Right.
I think that's really going to be my target. But another target, in a smaller percentage, are college students. I really want to get the younger generation involved and at least start to think that there are other alternatives besides corporate America.
Very true, very true. And so, what will readers get from your book that they won't from others that currently exist?
They're not going to get any spin. I'm straightforward for a reason.
Great.
Because there is good in franchising, there is bad in franchising, and there's some real ugly stuff in franchising. Even with the business transparency that we all talk about,
right.
there's still things in franchising that need to be changed. So I think that the most important thing people are going to get is to remember that it's not about the franchises that they want to look at. It's about them first. To find out about what it takes to be a franchise owner, if they have the right personality to be a franchise owner, if they're willing to be a rule follower,
right.
and if they have the finances to do it. Once they have found out those three things, the book will take them right through every step they need to make an intelligent decision and be a super successful franchise owner.
That's great. And honestly, I think tough love is just what gets you ahead in business. You really need someone to be able to be straightforward and honest with you. And your book kind of walks people through that, and they really have to kind of look inside themselves, as fluffy as that sounds, to just really, you know, believe whether they have the strengths to pull it off.
And not to drink the franchise industry's Kool-Aid.
Right.
It's mostly good, but people still have to trust their intuition and get the facts.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where can readers get your book, and how can they get in touch with you?
The best way is www.becomeafranchiseowner.biz. There's all sorts of Amazon links, Books A Million, etc., to buy the book. And my main website, www.thefranchiseking.com. The blog portion has over 1,000 articles. There's plenty of things to find with the content that I put out there.
Great, thanks. And like I said, Google Franchise King and you will be found. So no problem at all. Thank you again so much for joining us, and we're really excited about sharing this with all of our audience.
Thanks for having me, and good luck. I love your business.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.